Hello friends, welcome to lecture series on computer proficiency test, that is CPT for SSC CGL exam presented by W. So we are in the fourth lecture now where we'll be talking about the best strategy to crack module 1, that is the typing test. So in the last lecture we have looked at the common doubts which most of the candidates will have and we have answered them all. Now let's get into the best strategy for word processing test, that is module 1. So first, before getting into the lecture, I would like to tell one thing. A professional typist speed is around 80 words per minute, whereas SSC CGL requires you to have a speed of around 27 words per minute. So all I would like to say is do not spend a lot of time in trying to master typing. That's not required. Just learn typing so that you get basics and then start practicing a lot so that you'll get this decent speed. Okay? Now, how do you learn typing from scratch? Again, there are many softwares, website, tools which offer typing lessons. But again, we found two websites to be really nice to get started off with. One is indiatyping.com and second is typingmaster.com. So you can follow any of this, both are good to get your basic lessons in this typing. After that, you can practice a lot to get that speed. Fine. Now let's get into the most important aspect, the most important tool for this exam preparation, that is keyboard. This is the only important tool, to be frank, for your typing test preparation. And getting a bad keyboard might hinder your speed, that you all know, right? So getting a standard quality keyboards is really important, because even in exam you can expect a standard keyboard. So again, there are many hundreds of keyboards in the market. We have done our research and found these 4 keyboards to be the best among those which really suit to our needs, right? And you can buy this from anywhere, and we have also provided Amazon links so that you can directly click on them and order it directly. So the links, you can find it in the description of the video below. Okay, so this is about the keyboard. So do not neglect keyboard, have a good decent keyboard so that you don't hinder your typing speed and so that you don't get a different experience when you go to the exam. Fine. Now let's get into how to practice typing. See, we believe that if you have real exam type and level practice sets and real exam atmosphere, that makes the perfect practice for you. So first, have a good practice sets which are of real exam type and real exam level, and then have a good software which resembles the software provided by SSC in the exam. That is, use WordPad or Notepad for typing, but not MS Word, because MS Word will have some extra features like autocorrection, highlighting the mistakes, and few other things which you won't find in the software provided by SSC. Use MS Word for correcting only. We'll show you how later. And it's better if you take a printout, because in exam also you'll get a printout and looking at it you'll have to type on computer. And thirdly, keyboard. As we have discussed in the last slide, use a standard keyboard. Fine. Now let's look at a small demo on how we believe that you should practice, right? First, take a good practice set. Okay, this is a practice set from our ebook which we'll be discussing in a later lecture. And this is the WordPad. You have to open a WordPad and most importantly set a timer. As this exam is for 15 minutes, set a timer of 15 minutes and strictly stick to the time limit during the practice test. So stop the test immediately after 15 minutes. Treat every practice set like a real exam. That's really important. Fine. And as I've told you, if possible, take a printout of the practice set. So like this, start typing in WordPad, right? And if you finish the test earlier, use that time in checking whether you have done any mistake and trying to correct those. Okay, so use that time to correct those mistakes, because even in real exam, this is how you have to do. First, type everything, and if there is any time remaining, try to identify mistakes and start correcting them. Okay, and next, once you have done with typing on WordPad and once the time limit is over, copy paste the entire thing on MS Word. So what happens is, in MS Word MS Word will automatically highlight few things like this in red or green. So that makes you easier for preliminary correction. And after that, maybe you can again go line by line with the sheet and try to identify mistakes. Fine. See, here I would like to stress on one thing. This exercise that you should type and you should only correct will really help you. How? Because when you're doing this exercise many times, like 20-30 times, your mind will be set such that you can easily identify the errors. So in final exam, once you are done with typing, you will be left with at least 3 or 4 minutes generally if you type it faster. So in that 3 or 4 minutes, you can try to identify the errors. So by doing this practice, you can identify those errors really fast. So that will really help you in getting that accuracy back. Fine. So finally, once you calculate all the errors, find the total error. You know how to find total error, we have discussed in the second lecture. Now find the percentage error. This also we have discussed in the second lecture, how to compute percentage error. Fine. That's how you should practice, and always try to get this percentage error at least 2% less than the cutoff. So if you belong to general category, your general category cutoff is generally up to 5%, right? So always aim to have at least less than 3%, so that you will be on a very safer level, right, in your practice test. And one more thing is, count even half mistakes as full mistakes during practice, so that again you will be on a safer level. So even by doing all this, try to get an error which is at least 2% less than cutoff. Fine. So this is how we believe you should have your practice sessions. So we believe that by doing this practice sessions, you will be really equipped to get that test really good in the final exam. Okay, now let's go into few tips. So while taking practice sets, always count even half mistakes as full mistakes, and try to keep the error percentage at least 2 points below the cutoff. We have just seen this in the last slide. And keep a timer and stick to the limit, which we discussed that this is really important. And if you finish the test early, as I've told before, use that time to find and correct the errors, because that is how you should do in real exam as well. Try to get your accuracy as high as possible. And not just speed, accuracy is equally important, obviously, right? So speed is one aspect, but if you don't get your accuracy right, if you fall above the percentage cutoff in your percentage error, then you'll still be disqualified. Accuracy is also really important. Okay, so these are like the tips which you must follow, and there are few other tips which are optional. So if you follow them, it's well and good, you can improve your speed and accuracy. The first thing is, try not to look at your keyboard much. This will save a lot of time. So to achieve this, you'll need to do a lot of practice, because without looking at the keyboard and typing requires a lot of practice. But again, I would like to stress one thing: even while looking at the keyboard, you can still achieve speeds. But if you can try not looking at keyboard and start typing, that would really help you increase your speed. Fine. And the second thing is, you might be chatting a lot with your friends. So try to chat in full length words or statements rather than in shortcuts. So this will help in two things. One, you can improve your speed. And the second most important thing is, even in exam, sometimes out of the tension, you will start typing shortcuts. So that will really be a disaster, right? So we have seen few students do it. So it's better at least few weeks and months before the typing exam, it's better if you chat in full length words with your friends. That will really help you in your final exam as well. Okay, so one thing, you would have seen all this and you might think that typing is easy, and yes, actually typing is easy to learn, but one important thing is, you can't learn it in one night. Typing really requires you to put in some time, because it's like a skill, right? Typing is a skill, so you can't learn it in one night. But anyone can learn it. Typing is easy, but put enough time. Fine. So that's all in this best strategy lecture. We have looked at how to learn typing and what are the keyboard aspects, and we looked at how to practice typing. We saw a demo on which is the best way to practice typing, and we looked at few tips. In the next lecture, we'll get into the best strategy to crack module 2 and 3, that is the Excel and PowerPoint tests. Fine. So that's it for this lecture. Thank you so much for being with me in this lecture. If you like this video, please do like it, so that it will tell us that you appreciated this effort of ours, and please do share it so that your friends also will get to know about our videos. And please do subscribe so that you don't miss on any of the future videos. We are coming up with many new videos in the future. For you to not to miss them, please do subscribe to the channel. Okay, thank you so much and have a nice day.